Well. Greetings, everyone. It's Uncle Vigilante. How are you? Let me just admit my good friend Max Freeman in here and make sure that we are on mute over here so it doesn't bust your eardrums or mine. We're good there. Hey, it's been a long time. Feels like forever. Happy post Snapshot day. We're through it. We did it. Snapshot was taken. You're all good. Everyone's good. Stand by for news on how that all plays out and works out and everything. Just read the community announcements. But the Snapshot has been taken. So congratulations for being there. And you're going to be very, very happy that you did. So this is like an emergency broadcast. And it's emergency only in that we want to give people who may have the opportunity, the time to prepare. So in April, we're going to have a major Epic Cash conference down in Miami. There are several months for us to be able to properly prepare for that, to where it's going to be, it's just going to be a blast. And there's going to be a lot of community involvement in the creation of that event while they're down there. The 17th and 19th of January, however, we're having our second Epic Cash conference, and it is right around the corner. And for those of you who may be willing to make it, Max and I wanted to get on and provide you the agenda, and it's going to be pretty cool. We are so fortunate. I mean, just so fortunate that we are having that conference at the same time. Max, what's the name of the conference? The
North American Bitcoin.
Oh, that sounds, your audio sounds bad. that sounded like you were underwater. It's the North American.
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good now. Yeah, it's the North American Bitcoin Conference. So let me share with you the agenda on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Those of us who are going to be there, we are literally going to be in the lobby, right, Max? It's the lobby of the convention. Is that right?
I'm not super familiar with the convention center, but we're gonna just kind of camp out in like a little coffee area or like waiting area. But I'll head down there here and check it out, and we'll find a spot and do up instructions and stuff. But the basic idea is that there's going to be a lot of people, some serious movers and shakers included, who will be there at this North American Bitcoin conference on the 17th and 19th. And with our increasing critical mass of activity here and local resources to draw on, we said, well, wouldn't it be great to just show some team spirit there in the mornings of at least the first 2 days. I don't know about the third, that might get old. But a number of us are going to be here doing some in-person brainstorming those first 2 days. And so if you're willing and feel like it, then definitely come and bring some swag. And we're going to bring some printed materials and stuff, and just show our presence there and see what emerges. There's a number of meetings with people that I know are already coming together. And so we may see some surprisingly high-profile faces milling about in our world. But let's see. So that's the mornings, and then
let me just comment on the morning. So anybody that's there, it's just going to be a blast. I mean, wear your swag. I'm going to wear my Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin, my Epic Cash coin with the gold chain on it. That last time I was in Miami, that got a lot of people talking. And we'll come down there. We're going to have lots of material for you to be able to hand out. But it's really just kind of community building, and like Max said, it's just kind of sharing the spirit of Epic Cash. We just think by having T-shirts that said "I told you so," and the other swag that we have, that's just going to get, a buzz going. So we want to accomplish that because it's the Bitcoin conference. And so you have people who are at that conference that know a thing or two about crypto, and I'm sure they will walk away knowing a little bit about Epic Cash too. So that's the mornings. The afternoons, then I think, Max, you already have some scheduled meetings and we're going to have some breakouts. But for anybody that's coming down, for example, I know Mother Trucker, you've talked about coming down and likely will, but the afternoons would be the time to organize your own breakouts. And that's where between now and then, I hope our community just starts talking, and those who decide to be able to come down, let's organize that so that we can make the afternoons productive. We're not going to do anything this conference like we're going to do in April that's structured, or it's just going to, again, be more breakouts. And then the evenings, we are all going to gather at determined places to where we're going to share some libations and dinner and just enjoy each other's company. And there's also probably going to be some surprise guests who will be joining at dinner too. Did I get that right, Max?
Yeah. If you can make it, you really should. We don't want to promise too much for this first one, but we are comfortable promising a lot for the second one. Incidentally, that's April 6th to 9th. That gives people a little bit more lead time, and we're going to make an affair of it. So Bitcoin 2022 is the show during that time. And then there's also a series of smaller events called Monerotopia, and we're actually going to be not informally connected just on the periphery of either of those, but actually plugged in various holistic ways that find the complementary opportunities. You mentioned on the North American Bitcoin that people come away learning about Epic. I would say that they'll come away learning about Bitcoin, because it's particularly if you got here in the past few years, you think it's a wealth management product that you hold through banks, and the goal of the exercise is to hodl it and get all excited in tent revival type of context, and repeat what influencers told you. No, I'm being too harsh, but you know how I feel about that stuff, when really it's about payments. So let's look at the white paper. Let's look at peer-to-peer. Let's see what the man says about trust and permissions and immutability and all that stuff. And then people can determine for themselves. I mean, increasingly, I won't betray any confidences, but it's always really funny. The people that are the most vociferous, oh my God, I'm never going to eat liver. You're never going to make me eat liver. And then by the end of the summer, Grandma, can I have some more liver? If I get another phone call, hey, bro, I'm really sorry. Can you spot me some coins? Like, and maybe we can get back to $2 like it was last week. Today's hater is tomorrow's super fan. So everybody is welcome, and nobody has transgressed so badly that it can't be fixed. So if you want to hop in the boat, knock on our door. We're glad to have everybody.
Amen. And as far as where people are going to be staying, it's just going to be all over the place. So that's one to where, again, talk about it in the community. Last time I was down there, I think Mr. P and I, we stayed at the DoubleTree near the airport, and then it's just a quick Uber ride in. We're going to be staying closer to camp this time. But so that covers that. We just wanted to give you that advance notice so you can start socializing within the community. And then let's talk, Max, because it's been a big topic of conversation in the trading channel, and there was that scary red wick that happened coincidentally, it seems, during my live stream on my Epic Cash Live. Let's walk through that and talk people off the edge, because to me, I just sit there, and when people realize that, hey, you don't like the price, go buy one Epic up there and your portfolio go back up to normal. But I'd rather you share all of your
happy to. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second.
Yes, Rescued Car Collective, you can bring your 8-year-old, because I want to meet the 8-year-old that is absolutely, interested in Epic Cash. Bonus, I've got 10 Epic Cash for your son if your son is wearing Epic swag. Absolutely. Bring it. Rescued Car Collector is in the chat. Okay.
All right, so I have it pulled up here. Let me see. I can't see the whole order book, but this will be good enough. Okay, so there's some time tested, excuse me, time tested wisdom that we need to dust off from the Bitcoin core camp. One of the things that people used to say many years ago that I haven't heard lately is, or maybe haven't heard it quite so much, maybe, is this idea to zoom out. So I know days like today, it looks like somebody just needed some money and hit the bid. And the other day we were live streaming. It happened too. So first of all, if we go and look at the chart and go to 1 year, so let's see. Yes, we do go down.
Are you sharing screen? Because we're not seeing it.
No, let me do that. Hold on 1 second. That would be a good idea. Just X out of this. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Oops. Hold on. Click off for 1 second.
Mm-hmm. I can only imagine the depth of the desktop.
I know. I don't use this computer much. It has a bunch of old stuff on there. I do almost everything from my phone. I've gotten so focused and a little bit lazy. If it can't be done on a phone, it has to be really worth it. So anyway, all right. So on a daily basis, very, very volatile. There is a lot of genuine volatility, and then there's a lot of noise. But let's zoom out here to the big picture and say, all right, if you can resist the temptation to refresh the screen and breathlessly follow, the green candle days are fun. Everybody's excited. The messages go up. People are happier. I mean, the problem is not the up days. It's the down days. Unfortunately, you can't have one without the other. It doesn't make them any less painful. So there is genuine volatility on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if you guys can see the cursor, but so like back in March of 2021, okay, everything's great. We're at $1. Next stop, the moon. And then, oh shit, 16 cents, and there's the hack and all that. But I mean, in the fog of war, you lost half your money here, at least on a mark-to-market basis. Now, what that tells me, what I'm telling our community is you should not buy Epic with money that you will need tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month is probably okay. Next year, definitely okay. I mean, at $5, if we get to $5,000 and somebody asked me for a 1 year price prediction, and okay, we had a good run, maybe take some chips off the table. I don't want to have egg on my face here, but where we are, okay, so, zoom out and look long-term, let the scarcity work for you, but short-term, this is, that needs to fit within your financial life. If you're 20 and living with mom and dad and you have no expenses and you're looking to make some real wealth for yourself over the coming decades, then absolutely swing for the fences. I know a guy, I'm not joking, who he was driving Uber in the early days of Bitcoin and taking every paycheck and buying Bitcoin with his entire money and just eating top ramen, no furniture, just obsessed. He knew his ship was going to come in. And then you know what he did? He took all of his Bitcoin and he put it into a single ICO. Can you imagine the most ridiculous thing that you can think of? ICOs are risky. Almost everyone has failed. But if you took all your money and you put it into one ICO, you know what the one that you probably should have done that with?
What's that?
Ethereum. So he snowballs his money, makes his 1000x or whatever from the early days of Bitcoin to the mini whale status of Bitcoin, and then goes and does it again because he
put it in Ethereum,
all in Ether. Oh, and man. And then you know what he did when the market got hot in 2017 toward the end there? I know because trading water cooler, what are you buying? What are you selling? What are you doing? Whatever. I came to know his story by we were in the trenches together. I learned a lot from this guy because he, came in earlier and was generous enough to share some of his story with me. And so when the market got hot toward the end of the year, I mean, ETH blew off to, I think, $1,300 in early 2018, maybe 1,400 or something. He said, this is crazy. I've made enough money for multiple lifetimes. I'm out. Like, this price is good for me. What do you mean? The market's going to the moon, either 10 grand, it's, 2.0 staking is around the corner. I mean, you think it's bad for the vitriol that we take. This poor guy was almost excommunicated from this little trading, watering hole, one of these online communities. But I respect, the conviction quite a bit. And indeed, that's informed my own strategy, because when I first got into to the space, I wanted to learn by doing, and I had to, or I didn't have to, I wanted to go and learn, okay, what is it like to run a node, to stake, to mine, to trade, to get ripped off, to do all these different things. And so I sometimes won some money, I sometimes lost some money, but I always came out ahead in terms of the experience. And that's that was directly relevant here. And so it would have been all too probably better for my gray hairs to just sit and trade meme coins and food coins and go from the farming, flavor of the month. I know many people that have just done colossally well, and while I respect their acumen, they in many cases didn't add anything to society as a whole. In fact, they were just the guy on the other side of the trade. Somebody had a really good day when you had a very bad day on your Darrow trade, and so what I wanted to do is just help create something that really expands the industry, and there's a net gain to world GDP directly through that. So we've set it up where the value creation should be there over time, not just through the scarcity, but through the increasing utility. We're doing some modeling on the ECK side, figuring out the testnet configurations and stuff. But we believe we know how to make Epic do things at the level of these more centralized networks in terms of throughput capabilities, and just crush on cost and permissionlessness, trustlessness, all the other key points that we're always harping on. So you saw the interview, the first one I ever did from August 2019 with Danny. Maybe put a link in the show notes. But as you correctly pointed out, I mean, you wouldn't know the difference that one was 2019 and one was 2021, because I'm talking about the exact same things in the exact same way. We've achieved maybe like 12% of the roadmap at this point, rather than just 0.01% or whatever it was at that point. We hadn't even launched. But if we got from nothing to 12%, then maybe it isn't so crazy that we can get to 24%, and then we're at 36, and then before you know it, we're there. Anyway, I'll let you get it in a word edgewise. I'm gonna take a sip.
Take a sip. I'm just doing a copy, and I'll paste in here. There you go, folks who are in there. This is Max Freeman's first interview. It is a must listen. It's pre-launch. For those of you who see this later, please go in my show notes below. Right after Need More Help, in my show notes, man, it is literally a collection of, it's just a must have. I would suggest you copy and paste my show notes and send them to other people to get them started. There's a whole lot there, but in there is Max Freeman's first interview. I say it's a must listen.
In my whole life. That was my first media thing ever.
it was amazing, and it was on the crypto show, and you were invited on by the show host Dan, and it was just it brought back many memories for me, because I listened to it last night, and I was just like, that's our max. And then I woke up this morning and I listened to it again. And then I'm like, I just went down memory lane and I'm like, my shitcoin trial with Max, if you listened to what I just posted, his first interview, and then you go back to find down below in my videos, go all the way down until you find me in a silly wig pointing at the screen saying, Epic Cash, not shitcoin. And listen to what was going to be a 45-minute interview that turned into a 2.5-hour interview. And what you will hear is the same Max Freeman talking about the same fundamentals. And it was like basically a progress report. If you listen to the one that happened a couple years earlier and then my shitcoin trial, I think, the difference was probably back when you did that, I didn't even know what the price was. It was probably sub a penny because it was pre-launch.
When was this? What are you talking about?
When you're first
pre-launch, there was no price.
Yeah, yes, so there was no price. And when we did my interview, I think the price was like 24 cents. I think it was no 18 cents. Sorry, somebody corrected me. It was 18 cents. So it was 18 cents. And that's when you really got my attention. And then I started personally pivoting everything and acquiring at 24 cents. And then, and people were saying that, I'm nuts to go all in on this project, but you were so consistent from that first interview to the interview that I've done. And then one day I'm going to be able to say this, Max, the hundreds of videos that we've done together over our relationship. We have put hundreds of hours of interviews together for sure. And if you look at it and you just watch, the price has gone up. And we haven't even started yet. That's the whole thing. That's why
nobody's heard of us.
Nobody has heard of us. We're totally undiscovered. My daughter, Alex, I love you, but she, sent me a message freaking out that the price, so this is her first roller coaster ride down to where the stomach kind of goes up and whatnot. But it's just like, relax. There are so many positive things that are happening that we haven't even, we're barely out of the blocks, guys and gals. And so I really encourage everybody to go listen to that. But after that, then I was really curious and I reached out to you, Max, and I said, hey, let's connect with Dan. I'd love to do a sequel to that interview and have Dan come on the show and you, and let's just have a progress report, kind of compare notes from that very first interview that you had. And then, it would be a few years later, almost, to where we could have this bookend interview with you. So we're going to arrange that, but we did connect with Dan, and Dan did have a follow-up interview with another person that I want you to talk about because this can be kind of an answer for Dan, because he had a question that this guest that he had on the
hold that thought. Let's just tie this up and then I can close this out. So so I would say that people would be well advised to consider their individual time horizon. And just like it's good advice to think about a divorce before getting married, or a dissolution of a business partnership before starting it, just so everybody knows what the rules of the road are. Think about your time horizon and then what it means for you. Some people are saying, okay, at $50, I'm going to sell all my coins, retire, pay off my mortgages, and go live in a cabin in the woods, or do whatever they want. It's time to have those dreams, because it'll inform the trading strategy along the way. This market is crazy. Imagine if if you were in here at 184 sats, we were half of a penny. You could have sold all the coins you wanted at $1 in at this time. What is that? Or not $1, 4,400 sats. And then you had to wait a long time in BTC terms to get back there. And then if you sold at that prior point, you'd be leaving a ton on the table, because look where we did. And so the reason that Enrique brings a lot of wisdom, and other people bring their experience, is that they've seen it before, and oh, like I sold too soon on the last pump, and I could have held on for 2 more weeks and tripled my money or whatever. So for somebody in now, I would say, let's say your acquisition basis is, let's just call it $5, then for a variety of reasons, why not sell 10% of your coins at $20 or 10 or 20, 50, 100, just set different levels. And as it goes up, take some chips off the table, as I've done the exercise with you and many others. It not only grows the network effects and leaves some profit on the table for the other guy so that they can have a good experience. We shouldn't forget that part, but also, if you're playing it prudently and not going and wasting the money, you can benefit from the volatility. And when the market's down by half for no reason, that's when you bust out your cash on the sidelines and go, shut up and take my money. And then you can be a counterbalancing force when animal spirits are high. So don't get over your skis. Don't play with more than you can afford to lose. And also, I would encourage people to look at really what does this mean for you? Because if you are viewing it as one of many coins, I talked to a guy yesterday who probably, if I had to guess, is our biggest holder. He was out there buying a lot of coins at a penny, 2 cents. He was mining. I mean, he was doing this and that, and I could never get his attention. He just was never interested. He'd pop up in the trading chats. He's still there. I won't mention his name. I know he's too busy to listen. But it turns out, even if he has a few $1,000,000 in Epic, that's a rounding error compared to what else he has going on. And he was telling me about his DeFi farming, and he did 100 of this, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're a monster, and you're swimming in our waters. That's really cool. I'm flattered. And as I always say, when we grow to be worthy, to merit the attention of increasingly serious people, then they will give us that attention, and they will be relevant in our story from one level to the other. So, let's say from here, the way that you deal with anxiety about, oh my God, the price is going down, is very simple. You put the phone away or stop refreshing the screen. And, like if you've ever dealt with smoking cessation or any kind of compulsive behavior like that, the answer is just to go, okay, I'm going to check it an hour from now or tomorrow morning.
Max just got a call, but he'll get a new phone next week.
Phone call. No, this was an actual phone call. We moved the time up, remember?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, so that was my 3:30 being prompt, and I was being rude by not answering it, but it's okay. It will keep. This is more important. Rewind. Where was I? The compulsive behavior. Okay, yeah. So a better use of that curiosity about the status of Epic would be to go and look at, okay, there's some new videos from Richard, like in the time that you would spend, like, oh my God, the price is down. Let me go check and figure out why. Go and learn something and maybe share it. Sharing is some way that you can help, because we're unknown, and that way more people come in. So to like channel that useless and ultimately self-defeating type of energy and direct it into a way that's productive. That's one skill. We could probably enumerate others, but really just recognize that this is a long-term thing. We always talk about the singularity. That's 6.5 years from now, which is a long time in meat space, but it's an eternity in crypto time. That's like 65 years. We'll all have FUD and FOMO'd and triumphed and had many tragedies along the way. We'll be old and buried by then. I
tell you what, I remember, gosh, like it was yesterday. And it kind of feels like, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, when we were at 50 cents. And it just freaking plummeted down to 32 cents, and I was just devastated. And I was
I remember.
through all of this angst because I had like, what a dumbass. I pivoted everything. It's like,
I told my wife, she's never going to let me forget.
I did this again,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it goes up, and then it's like flirting with $1 and goes down to 60 cents and stuff. And then I got to a point to where I just became calloused to it. And I'm at a point that you've been at forever, and yoga has been at forever. And those in the chat who've been around for a while that have been at forever. But I so appreciate the newbie feeling of those who, freak out when it goes down. But one thing people really need to understand is that we're on an exchange that doesn't have a lot of liquidity. So, once we are on these other exchanges, Bitmart is right around the corner and stuff, things will really start to change from that standpoint. But literally one trade just for like 3 epic can dump the price, but also buying one coin at a higher price can change it. Bottom line is your coin market cap is lying to you. It's never that price. Learn how to go into the Vite app and go into the markets, click buy, click the top red button and look over to the left on the middle side. And you'll see what the price would be if you were going to buy something then. And it's always much higher. It's just never as bad as it looks. But if you don't like the price of Epic, just wait a few hours or a week and it'll be back up. It always is. That's been my experience. And this coin is engineered with price go up technology. And again, we are undiscovered and we're working hard to be discovered. And so I hope you find that encouraging. I would look at this price. I don't even know if it's a dip anymore. I mean, it changes so fast, but it's a gift. I would continue to acquire. Matter of fact, I dollar cost average every 2 weeks. That's what I do, and I will continue to do that because that is the disciplined thing to do. And
you will beat 98% of active traders, if not more. Now that I think of it, with that simple strategy of dollar cost averaging, and because of the asymmetry of the returns and the volatility, if you couple it with the resisting the temptation to, yes, oh, I know we're going to $200 on this cycle, therefore I'm going to hold out, or my number's 1,000 or whatever. If you like, if today at $5, if we go to 20 and you sell a quarter of your holdings, you are playing with house money. If it goes to zero, you didn't lose anything, but you can also afford to be a lot more cavalier because you can tell, your significant other, I put in $100, I got out $100. The rest is gravy. And right, so it actually helps with your psychology. And then you can become within that 1 or 2% of traders that beats everybody, but you do it by not reacting emotionally and always like trying to identify the situations where people, because of that, that heat of the moment, the mania, the fear, the FUD, the FOMO, all that good stuff. You want to be on the other side of that. And so as we continue to build out assets that are stable, EUSD we know is stable relative to the dollar, but that's a sinking ship. And who knows what's the future of the dollar? If you peg to the SDR, the IMF special drawing right, as EMPL is pegged to, then you have a basket of fiat exposure. But then really you need to bring precious metals in and understand how that plays a role. And it is complicated. You got to know the MetaMask and the Uniswap and the this and the that. Yeah. But the fact is it's possible. And if you're one of those first intrepid pioneers to figure out how to make these things happen. I wasn't smart enough to, not smart, I wasn't open-minded enough to Bitcoin until it was already $1,000. And so from my perspective, yes, I've done well in this field, but I could have done so much better if I had just been open to it earlier, because a tiny amount of time in the blink of an eye, I'm 43. The difference between coming in at 100 and coming in at 1,000 is not that big of a deal to my life, but it would have been absolutely just transformative for like how I will be able to spend what resources economically I have available in the remainder of my life. And so if you're 20, if you're 40, if you're 60, if you're 80, Epic has something for everyone over all time scales. And as we use Epic as the backbone for these other pieces that we've been talking about for years now, designing for years now, working on for years now, as those things actually come out into the world beyond the lab and the R&D setting, it is literal alchemy. I mean, there is no reason that absolutely everyone in our Freeman family at any level can't be independently wealthy. So that's my pitch for the day.
MS just said, you said $10 Epic Cash by the end of the year. Are you still standing by that? Damn right, I'm still standing by that. Year's not over, my friend. And
4 days is a long time in crypto.
4 days is a long time in crypto. And
hold my beer. I mean, look, November 24th, I'm going to go to dollars here just because that's easier. So, if we're talking here, $2, and now we're talking $5. So what is that? How many days? Yeah, a few days. Instead of looking at the price, if you want to refresh a screen, this is the one I refreshed. Let's see if we picked up. Hey, we got one. All right. I mean, I can show you screenshots back when this was under a few hundred. I mean, I track this constantly. The hash rate. Look at the amount of new mining power that's coming in. Wow. So you want to see the value? Well, the value comes from, if you want to attack Epic, you have to get all three of these algorithms. You have to get more firepower than everybody else combined and juggle all those spinning plates. And then to what? Reverse one of these handful of transactions. There's no liquidity on Vitex anyway, but every computing cycle that anyone puts in makes it that much harder to attack, because proof of work, you have to go back to the beginning of time. So that it's like this wall of encrypted energy that gets higher and higher. And because of that, it actually gets cheaper to run. In Bitcoin Core, the data kind of accumulates. Like, imagine having to store your shoebox full of receipts for your small business from 1992 for the rest of your life. That's kind of what's there. And we're just on more modern tech. So, you can see that the market is really valuing what we're doing because the hash rate is 10 times. There's 10 wow. times the amount of valuable resources that could be doing cloud computing and video rendering and gaming and anything else they could otherwise be doing. And the electricity, of course, as well, that is going in there. So even at a $5 price, which we don't think is all that impressive, the network is consuming almost $30,000 a day of economic energy from the world through this mining process. And so that's accumulating on the balance sheet. If we were a company, we'd look at not just the cash in the ledger at the end of the day, we'd look at the inventory on the shelf and the accounts receivable and the plant and equipment and the intangibles and the blah, 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 all the other different things that identify value. So we have more users, we have more usage, we have more name recognition. Today, we have access to $658,000 a day worth of trading volume. But if you look under the hood, this is mostly VTEX's internal market makers trading with itself. We're the number one pair on there with a measly 70 grand. And if you want to get into and out of Tether, as an example, the spreads are too high, so nobody does it. Look at that, 3%. This is not attractive. Now let's go over to Bitmart. Despite a big, scary, you want to talk about red and scary. Oh my God, 200 million. So this was 2-3 billion before they had that speed bump. Now it's down to $1 billion. But look at that. We can access 543 coins through 646 pairs when that goes live. And it's
right around the corner. It's right around the corner. So hey, MS, I called $10 into the year, but I didn't call Bitmart getting hacked. So, maybe I get a mulligan for the end of January. How about that? Actually, I'm sticking to it. End of the month, baby. I'm a an
It's
optimist.
not over till it's not over till it's over. And here's another key data point. Shout out to Dave and John D, who often put out info on this. This is the order book depth. So you can see here that if we go out to 11,500, it's a little bright here, 11,562 sats, you can only get how many? 18,000 coins. All right. So an appetite of 18,000 coins today of a buyer that says, I need to buy this thing before the other guys hear about it, because I just heard about it through this channel and I'm one of the first viewers. And I know the 1,000 other guys that are watching this after me are going to come in and buy. People like Crypto Gunslinger, some of the other active traders, you know, if you stay on top of the news and you catch the first part of a move and then you sell it in the afternoon, that's good business. So 18,000 coins would take us to 11,562. So what is that? $8-9, something like that. I haven't done the math, but let's just roll. Oh no, 11,562 is okay. Well, let's do that.
Do the math, because this is really important, guys. I mean, I remember when buying 18,000, 20,000 coins at a pop was it wasn't that.
564. Yeah, so $5.64. So if somebody and how much money does it take to do that too? So that's only 1.8 BTC. 90 grand, somebody with 90 grand and an impatient trading strategy blows us up to 564. And that doesn't sound like much, but the market has been crap. Like, look at this. So let's go here. We are back up to what are we, 2.5 billion market cap, but this 7 days has been a bloodbath. I mean, everything was down 20, 30, 40%. I mean, looks like we've recovered a little bit, but it's been, the market has had a really hard time. I used to take BTC 100K for granted, and now I'm not so sure anymore. So look at the imbalance between the amount of people who want to.
Hey, I'm just going to say something, because damn it, I'm going to say it. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to now. Because so you guys know Mr. P, my best friend. So Mr. P had three surgeons, each ready to put in over a Bitcoin, and was getting together with them the 26th. What was that, yesterday? And because of these guys are plugged into our Telegram channel, and because of the FUD-inducing mania of a few people in there that were just like, oh, the world's falling apart, they decided to kick the can down the road till Pooch gets back from vacation, which will be next weekend. So I know those are coming in, but it pisses me off because somebody who just had to, I don't know, draw self-attention or whatever, but it's like on the 26th, it would have, no matter what happened during my live stream, those 3 BTC come in, we're having a whole different conversation today, aren't we?
We would have broken through new all-time high territory. And then what happens is sellers, they go to sell and they, oh, wait a minute. We're up how much? Oh, you know what? Let me wait till next week. And then it creates like a vacuum effect. So Mike, I'm sorry, you got 3 of them. That's nothing. I got 6. I got 6 frantic people that were responding to that one individual who we won't dignify the behavior with naming. We'll let the shaming be enough. But please grow up and cut it out. We don't like to have to censor, but you know, this is not right. Yes.
Good. I got that off my chest. So I want everybody out there watching I want my daughter watching that, honey, this didn't happen. This isn't something that naturally happened. This is something that somebody caused. They self-induced it because their mania just basically kept people away. So what should have been just a positive vibe to where we're talking about hitting $10 by the end of the year and everybody's happy. Now we're here. Now, That doesn't mean these guys aren't going to put in their BTC. They, of course, are. They just wanted they were just like freaking out, and they want to wait till Pooch can handhold him when he gets back from a well-deserved vacation in Cabo, Mexico. Mike, if you're watching, we love you. But I hope that gives you guys a little bit of insight to just relax. Epic Cash is just fine. Not one fundamental change. And if you don't believe me, go back and listen to the very first interview Max Freeman ever did. Listen to my shitcoin interview and listen to anything he said over the last 7 months.
We're not going anywhere. Yeah. There's 200 people that are invested enough with their financial resources to be invested enough with their time as contributors. And the amount of energy, just that the amount of care, the amount of relevance, we have never been as good on every metric that we're looking at. And I'm normally the voice of calm restraint. But here, I think the balance of greater caution needs to be on opportunity cost, and especially if you were in early into Bitcoin and you kind of missed the boat. Maybe you didn't buy as much as you should. Maybe you sold too soon. Maybe you tried to be a trader. Maybe you got involved with leverage. Maybe you got goxed. Whatever those reasons why you're not independently wealthy, and living the dream, this is your chance and this is the time. I mean, for me, it's been a 3.5+ year story. For some people, it's been, a long time as well. For others, not so much because they just discovered it. But wherever you are, what are you waiting for? It's not like the alternatives are getting better. No, they're getting worse. Restrictions on your fiat currencies are coming. CBDCs are going to be a dystopian nightmare if they even work. I could go on. We're not going to go backward to gold, and we need the properties in our money and currency that our network has. And if you go back a year or two ago, that story was only about Epic, and the utility of Epic was very limited because you can only use it for the scarcity component. And yes, there's a little bit of speculation. There were some intrepid souls that were interested in us as a nano cap and made some money on the way up to a micro cap. But as we get bigger, we can get bigger because our track record means that people can safely trust us to make the right decisions in terms of stewardship of this commons, this public space that we all share. And it really is something unique and special. And I get the frantic calls needing reassurance, but I also get the ones, I paid off my mortgage. You should see the look on my wife's face. I sold my small business that it's been a grind and I don't care anymore. I passed the farm on to my son, all those types of stories. And then you know what those people do with their time? They bring in their friends and family. I mean, Garrett and Becky Boo and Richie and Steve and Rob, all these new faces. That's because those early people got others in. So anyway, we can definitely,
let's wrap this up. What I want to do is just answer Dan's question. And this is kind of like a dislocated joint here at the end of the show, but I want to be able to ultimately point him to a specific timestamp of when we answer his question. His question this morning to you was about, he was interviewing someone who was talking about, and he teed up Epic Cash and Mimblewimble and all of the technology that goes into it. And he was saying that it's just like the perceived complexity of it is like that. Just the more complex you make a transaction, the greater points of attack that you can have. And I wanted you to succinctly answer that because I'm no Todd Lewis.
Yeah, me neither. We would be here all day. So the succinct answer is tarilabs.com, and then dig into this. I've been studying this type of stuff for years now, and it's amazing how much there is to learn in anticipation of being asked to talk about this. I actually needed to call Diego and say, hey, can you bone me up on the difference between Seraphis, Leilanta Spark, and Halo 2.0? And you know, I mean, I'm serious, because if I get one thing wrong, some troll will come in and go, you guys are led by an absolute cretin. He doesn't know the difference between the thingamabig and the whatmabob. I mean, seriously, people are merciless. So the concise answer is you go to Tari Labs, and then there's lots of good stuff on YouTube. But fundamentally, it comes down to inputs equals outputs, and that's the end of the story. Actually, inputs equals outputs plus the blinding factor, so nobody can see anything, and then the coin base, which is the new coins that are created in the mining process. And that's actually what you can see. So every block Epic pumps out 4 new coins that is externally verifiable. People often say, where, if it's a private ledger, how do you know how many coins there are? Okay, well, like any mathematical proof, we know there were 4 this block, we know there were 8 this block, we know there were 16 back in the beginning, we know how many blocks there are. You can simply add them up. And then on an individual block basis, it's very simple. Inputs equals outputs, and then the math stuff through Peterson commitments and Schnorr signatures that give the compression and the privacy as a byproduct. So at a protocol level, I know that person's concern was complexity. At a protocol level, Mimblewimble is dramatically less complex with fewer moving parts than primary competitors such as ZK Snarks, which Pirate and Monero use. Some more recent implementations use a related technique called ZK Starks. I think it's at succinct something argument knowledge, something like that. The acronyms are easy to become overwhelming, but thankfully it's not really necessary to know all of them unless you're interested. So Monero uses something called Ring CT as its primary technology, and Zcash uses ZK Snarks, and we use Mimblewimble. All of them are essentially identical for 99.9+% of use cases, where people just, when you pay the baker and the butcher and the candlestick maker, you don't want them to be able to trace your money, and you want to have the coins be fungible. And so all those boxes are ticked. And as Todd always says, once you get into the number theory and the Chomsky hierarchy and all this other stuff that he talks about, it gets a little wonky. But essentially, our strategy as a deliberate second mover, the reason I mentioned those 3 competing privacy approaches, is we don't want to have to know which of those is going to appeal to that segment of the market that cares about that last 0.00, you know, whatever. Like there's definite demand for all different types of systems, and we want to be universal. And so we're keeping an eye on that. The good news is that no matter who wins, we can, on a very trivial basis, adapt what's there. And so with the approaches that the pre-Mimblewimble coins use, it requires a lot more discussion of how the privacy is achieved, because it's achieved in a fundamentally different way. That means who can look at what and under what assumptions. It very quickly becomes very nuanced and less binary in the discussion. You get into the weeds beyond the simple, can someone trace your money, and can the coins be tainted or not. Excuse me, give me 1 second. So our approach is very simple at a protocol level, and I think that addresses the main concern of the person you were referencing who brought this up. The other parts of the perceived complexity, what is Mimblewimble and how does it work? Cut through and CoinJoin and Dandelion and Peterson commitments and Schnorr signatures. That sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But if you read the Bitcoin white paper, it's mostly about the structure of the block and I mean, it's very technical stuff, very, very, very jargon filled. A lot of these more sciencey white papers are impenetrable. I spend a lot of time reading them, and it's embarrassing how little I'm able. It's almost like reading medical stuff in Latin or lawyerly terms. So the bottom line is that all of those things individually are bulletproof. The way they come together are bulletproof. Everything is open source. No part of what we're doing is closed source. I think the various code bits individually have had, I think, 6 audits, maybe 7, something like that. Everything we use is in production in other networks, usually before we do it, because then Grin is on version 5, Mimblewimble coin is on version 4, and here we are, wishing for a day that we'll see V3, and that's deliberate because we avoided a lot of landmines and emergency bugs and things that didn't need to destabilize our network, because we essentially had these other production test nets with bigger market caps. So let me see here.
Let me ask you this, because I think another way that the question came this morning was, coming from the perspective of somebody who's not a Bitcoin maxi, but, is very much a Bitcoin fan. And so it's like we have the added complexity. Let me back this up. He was talking in your initial interview about how exhausting it was becoming to have people say that they were a better Bitcoin. But then when you answer, and I'm not saying you, I'm talking out loud, when you answer why we are a better Bitcoin, and it's because we are, private, you cannot track or trace, and you cannot have tainted coins. Well, how's that done? Well, it's done through Mimblewimble. Well, but that adds complexity to it.
That sounds complicated.
But it solves for the problem. Yeah. The primary problem. Yeah. So
tell me how it works. Oh, no, I'm not interested. That sounds like a lot.
It's like we use 2019 tech to solve for Bitcoin's primary problems. Everything else is pretty much the same, so you can trust in the design. Yeah, but it's so much more complicated. Not really, but anyway, to me, it's just kind of like a head shaker a bit to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a learning curve. It's there's definitely a lot to learn. I periodically go through Coin Market Cap, and it's amazing how many billion-dollar projects sprang out of nowhere that I've never heard of, and I generally stay pretty well on top. Anyway, okay, so does that answer your question? I feel like I probably lost something in the detail on this.
No, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I mean, the best answer to describing why Mimblewimble and the added complexity is just go down and watch the Todd Lewis interview. Mic drop.
Well, I would say that, we could, and in fact, maybe we should talk about the complexity, and let's talk about the stated desires of the existing incumbents. If they didn't have the technology limitations they do from using 2009 tech that is frozen in time, then what they would do. And so when I was scrolling here, Schnorr signatures, I believe the primary impact there is on scalability. I think it shrinks the data down. I might be wrong on that. I'm always interested when people give me feedback on things, constructive criticism. If I get them wrong or if I can upgrade my knowledge, don't be hesitant to let me know. But I believe you can see the technical people in Bitcoin Core saying, hey, one of these days, it'd be great if we could do this Schnorr signature thing, or maybe it was part of Taproot, or maybe it was coming or something like this. But I know I've heard it mentioned in time, and I don't think it's done. It may be, but we had it from day one. Scalability is another huge thing. I think they're going to be at 400 gigs soon. We've been pigging out over the holidays. We've been bloated with all the extra users and usage, and we're up to 2.23 gigs. You know what they say about a moment on the lips. We'll have to buy all new clothes. So we've got the scalability advantage, and also how important it is to resist centralization. Well, Lightning Network is the definition of centralization, and there's a whole host of security compromises in terms of how safe, that people can believe the system to be under different conditions. I know I don't trust systems that compromise in key areas, but a lot of people do. To each their own, I guess. And we don't. We scale on layer one. We know how to do Visa scale throughput and be the NFT backbone. This you can see here confidential assets or digital assets on Tari Labs University. Incidentally, we solve for miner extractable value. Anybody who's playing in DeFi that's ever seen their trading profits eaten away, you think Trade Ogre's bad. Wait till you go to the dark forest of Ethereum, and don't get me started on Solana and some of these other places. When you deal with big boy money, you're out there with sharks, and you ain't seen nothing yet. And with ours on Epic, there is no miner extractable value because nobody can see anything about the trade, and the miners don't know what they're mining.
Nice.
And on Eon, our essentially our Ethereum, our smart contract platform, our crypto cloud computer, just like Epic is the core of the overall economic ecosystem by being the role of gold in the extras pyramid. Eon is the fuel. If Ether is the fuel of Ethereum, then Eon is the fuel of Epicenter Open. And there he is calling again. He's trying to be helpful and doesn't realize he's doing the opposite. I'll get right back to him. Yeah, so in addition to the tech that we use making transactions not only very fast at 1 second versus Ethereum in its present state for 15, but also dramatically less expensive. You know how cheap gas is going to be on Eon? We all know gas is expensive in Ethereum and even BSC. So as long as you stake your Eon, that's what makes it work under the hood. Or you can do proof of work, as we've seen with some of the tech that people are familiar with. Then transactions are free. So we've gone not to a low gas model, but to a no gas model. And that's because nobody knew who was going to be the winner. Should it be blockchain? Should it be sharded? Should it be proof of work? Should it be proof of stake? Should it be directed acyclic graph? Like we didn't know and still don't know in a lot of different areas where the winner is going to be. But when it becomes clear, when a certain architecture is above and beyond the rest, that's when we go in with complete commitment and conviction and focus. And that's why the first few years of our journey were purely about Epic and not even trying to do any of this other stuff until we had the backbone solid. But now that we do, it's like Richard said, we haven't taken the car out of the garage yet. Right. And if we have started, racing around a little bit, we haven't warmed up the tires, we're getting the blood flowing. Like, you hold my beer. You haven't seen anything yet.
Right. Okay, why don't you stop screen sharing that, Max? That's probably making people's eyes cross. But okay, no, this was good. I think we're over an hour right now, and I think that let's get on about our afternoon. But I just did want to come and give that update on the conference, give you a little bit of comfort about that scary red wick, and then answer that question that was asked by Dan. So hopefully we accomplished it all. Everybody in the chat looked like it was a great turnout today. I guess it's between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe people are off work more than usual, but that's it's nice to see everybody. So Max, any last words before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. Just this is an iterative process, and the more we do it, the better we get. And so if anybody has any feedback on how we can keep getting better, and ideally keep getting better at getting better in any area, whether it's this show or how we communicate, what we talk about, anything like that, it really is a participatory hive mind kind of a thing. And as I always do, please reach out if you want to get more involved.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, everyone in the chat. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. We'll be back. You know, we're back like, you know, those Bob and apples. We'll be back. You just don't know when, but we love you. All right, guys. See you in the